So wake up in the middle of the night.
All right, it is 6 o'clock. We'll call meeting to order. All members are present. No additions to the agenda. Moving on to the approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Thomas, second by Ron. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, hearing nothing, motion passes. No public comment. Moving on to the consent agenda.
So we'll start with bills, Cheryl.
Audited bills and everything was just normal business. I did notice there were a lot of custodial supplies, so they are busy. Getting everything cleaned up, ready, fixed up, and should be set to go by the time school starts.
Working on it. There's just a couple of hires. There is one leave of absence, and then the donation document has been updated for the 26-27 school year with donation to the Summer Community Theater from Paynesville Lutheran Church. So again, thank you for the community support to make sure that we are able to offer all the activities that we like to offer. So that's the consent agenda.
For a motion approved.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda.
I'll
By
second.
Gerald, second by Jacob. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed here. Motion passes. Moving on to communication items.
Administrative report today. So some of the ongoing summer work that's happening right now, this is the time where administrators really get to kind of, one, they regroup, and then two, we kind of get geared up for the school year and supporting staff throughout the school year. I try to share with you what our theme is for the year and kind of what we're going to be working on. I've talked numerous times, or I know I've referenced her work in a variety of different settings, whether it be board meetings, administrative meetings, just even staff facility, just general meetings throughout the district. But we are working through the work of Strong Ground by Brene Brown. And I want to just kind of really talk about, this really is about developing strong and courageous leaders. And as we really have talked about the implementation of the strategic plan, one of the things that we really talked about were kind of what are identified as friction points, where we know there might be some things that we have some people there, we have some people not, we have some work to do, so it's kind of that rough spot of where, how do we move forward? And so this really is just using her book and really integrating the work and the implementation of the strategic plan. So I just wanted to share that with you as board members so that you're kind of aware of what our team is going to be working on this summer. We also are working through handbook reviews. Every year we take a look at the staff, activities, and PAWS handbook. So those recommendations will come to you in the work session in August for approval at the end of August. There is some policy review in works. So board members who are on the policy committee, please watch for email in probably the next week from Miranda to get that on the calendar. As Cheryl mentioned, building cleaning and repairs are underway. And if anybody walked in the hallway, it's pretty prominent. Our secondary office is being finished this week, and the district office is also being finished this week. So heavy cleaning is taking place right now. The school board filing period opened today, July 14th through July 28th at 5 p.m. So unfortunately, as I mentioned, the district office is being resurfaced starting tomorrow. So if anybody there, just call the district office at 320-243-3410, and we'll meet you here in the district office and get that filing. But as I mentioned, it is open until the 28th at 5 p.m. Also, I do want to bring one other piece of a notification just to the public's attention and for you as school board as well. On the ballot in November is going to be a constitutional amendment, okay? And what that constitutional amendment is it's around the permanent school trust fund. Okay, so I'm going to share, this document is going to be living in a couple of different places, but I'm going to start here just showing what it is. The Permanent School Trust Fund is a fund that has been in existence for many, many years. And it was set with a process paid out to school districts that on essentially, I'm going to kind of use it in like terms of like paying off of the interest that is accumulated on your bulk of money. That's what was paid out to school districts. So for our school district in fiscal year 25, we had $62,252 come in from the school trust fund. Okay. The school trust fund is managed by a board at the state of Minnesota, and what they've been looking at is does this distribution model still make sense based on how well the fund is doing and the way it was established? And what they evaluated is that they would like to increase the percentage of payout to school districts. This goes to all public schools, charter schools, tribal nations, and public schools. And it costs our taxpayers nothing because this money is already sitting in a fund, okay? The reason this has to go to taxpayers or to our voters is because it's written into the Constitution of Minnesota, the distribution model, okay? So the revision is really about changing that constitutional language that changes the payout percentage to schools. What's being proposed for our school district, it would generate approximately an additional $25,000, okay? The fund would not deplete, the fund would remain. The concern is around the confusion of a constitutional amendment on a ballot. When people don't understand or they just don't vote on it, it counts as a no vote. So as community members go out to vote for school board members, if they see this constitutional amendment and they just skip it, that's going to be considered a no vote. Okay, so you're going to see a variety of publications come through, and really this is very similar to when school boards support or go out for an operating referendum, a project levy, a bond. We are not going to advocate one way or the other. We are going to educate. And it's really about making sure that if the public has questions, we can direct them to what the answers are. The bottom line is it is additional revenue for school districts, and we want to be clear about that, but it is no tax implication. And I think that's another piece that we want to be really clear about, because this is not the school board coming out and asking for anything. You're not having to authorize anything. That's just going to be on the ballot. Okay.
So is this something that is kind of equal per student, or is something where we're going to have a trust fund where the metro schools get the largest majority and everybody else gets pittance?
Oh, it is a per pupil distribution straight across the board. When you have more students, you get more money.
Yeah, that's great.
But it is. Yep.
It's not going to be okay.
Yep. And like I said, it's every public school that has enrollment. So
in the distribution model before was not per pupil, and they want to equalize it. Is that what's going on?
It was per pupil before, but I'm not. I'm going to look up, Bruce, and I'll bring it back to our next meeting. Don't quote me on the percent, but it was like a 2.87%, and now they're proposing it goes up to 3.2% of the fund, the interest of the fund. Does that mean so? And I can get the specific percentage, and I'm sorry, I don't see that off the top of my head, but it's using the same distribution model. They're just increasing.
But it's probably building more because investment interest is higher.
You are exactly right. Yep. Okay. So that is what I have for an administrative report. I do want to just remind everybody about the strategic plan implementation. We are having a lot of conversation around that this summer. Just to bring back to the forefront of the board what this scorecard is going to be looking like. I need to make that bigger. I hope other people agree with me. So we're gonna just start here.
I agree with you this time.
Thank you. So first priority is academic excellence and high expectations. So as Jesse and Cassie talked about it at our June board meeting, one of the things that the principals are really focusing on, along with the team of other teachers throughout the school district, is working on what does high quality instruction look like. And this is an area that I'm super excited about because I think it provides definition and clarity. Sometimes when you don't have, when it's ambiguous and you just kind of think, well, this is what teaching looks like to me, and this is what good teaching looks like to you, we're going to have streamlined conversation about here's what the research and evidence says are strategies to really hone in on good teaching. So we're excited about that work. High quality staff. We do continue to talk about how we support and mentor our new staff. Our mentorship program has been under some really evaluation to determine how do we provide, in addition to kind of that collegial mentor, like where you park, where you heat up your lunch, with, like all of those logistical things that really do matter. And I know that that's a big deal on your first day when you come to work. You don't want to park in the spot that is Rachel's parking spot, right? I mean, it's those unspoken rules, right? But that's a really important role. But in addition to that, we've really built in instructional coaching. And that's something that's going to be part of our QComp plan. And I think that's, again, really solid alignment with what's happening in the strategic plan. So as a reminder of the other two, culture, belonging, and accountability, improving consistency in attendance, strengthening communication to all stakeholders, and building a culture where all feel a sense of belonging, value, and connectedness. Those are going to be ongoing conversations throughout the fall as well. And then the last two, so operational stewardship. You are going to see on our board agenda today, many of our items are categorized to operational stewardship. They are things that the school district is required to do to be in compliance with state law and procedure. And then career, college, and life readiness. So that is, again, more of us making sure that our students have long-term goals. We haven't done a whole lot to address that right now at this point in time, but it is certainly it is remaining at the forefront of the conversations. So I just wanted to remind everybody, I don't have anything filled out. These matrix haven't been finalized based on foundational data, but just a reminder as to what that looks like. Okay. And then revenues and expenditures have been updated through the end of this fiscal year. They will be finalized when the audit is complete in October. I'm looking to Amanda, thank you. And so then I would turn it back over to you for any committee and organizational reports.
I do have something real quick before we move on to that, and it has to do with the book that you've chosen for development, Strong Ground. Don't know the book, and that's not my comment. For those that have ever gone to some type of formal leadership training, those are the most important things. I don't do military, through Lockheed. There are either books that were recommended that you read before you show up, or the books that are recommended once you leave here, is to keep you grounded and focused on why you were there and how you move forward. And I think this is just absolutely fabulous that you've done that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to committee and organizational reports.
West Central Ed District, we had our meeting last night. And as I mentioned, some of the things that we'll get in here as far as just the way that parents and keep in step with the statutes and stuff. So we did that same thing as far as the resolutions on certain things that we were going to, the district would follow that year, the handbook, different things like that. So it went very well. There was also a presentation prior to the board meeting. And it was from the Paynesville Area Community Foundation, the grant grant that was awarded, to, West Central Ed District of $20,000. And, it's to help, with the Hayes Lab that will come here to help support the SAIL program here. So, and then also, speaking of SAIL, the contract with the, Methodist Church, Christian Methodist Church is also, so continuing with another year, at least out here, and we'll see what happens in the future.
Any others? Hearing nothing. No old business, moving on to new business, reorganization activities.
So this is the time of year where the board will select the following items. So you have the official newspaper. Historically, the newspaper has been the Paynesville Press. My recommendation to the board to consider is again using the Paynesville Press. Authorization for bills and payments. You'll see our business manager, superintendent, executive administrative assistant, payroll benefits specialist. You know, the process really is as you will hear, Cheryl comes and reviews the checks, reviews the bills, the payments. And then those are public and they're posted in all of our board meetings and people can take a look at those if they would like to. But these are the individuals authorized for payment of bills. Our census taker is myself and Erin Botman, our new community ed director, in addition to Miranda Tice. Hearing officers for lunch. This one always it just perplexes me a little bit because it's never been used, but it's a requirement that we have. So it's myself and the board chair. School bank, a couple of years ago, we went out for an RFP for our banking services, and our recommendation is to continue with Magnify Financial for those various accounts, and then PMA Financial Network as our investment, our investment organization. Commencement date is proposed to be May 21st, 2027 at 7 p.m. at the Paynesville Area High School. Fees. So this is an area that I want to call out to you because we did talk a little bit about this in our budget proposals that came forward in April. Put my documents so I have what they were. Peter went to sleep. Sorry about that. All right. Sorry, I have my computer was sleeping. Okay. Oh, let me just keep going. I'm sorry about that. I'll answer the question. Okay. Our activities. So we did talk about increasing our admission. Adults are $8. It was $6. Students are $5. It was $4. This with the transition to Bound, like Rick talked about a few months back, we will have the capacity to have digital tickets, and we'll also have the capacity to use credit card for admission in addition to cash. So some school districts, you're going to see a differentiation. At this point in time, we wanted to give it a year as we're kind of transitioning to Bound. And if that may come back as a recommendation for the board to consider next year. But the increase in prices was to be consistent with our surrounding communities. Okay. Activities, we did talk about each of these. So what I did is just highlighted what the amounts are. These were, again, to remain, these are not high and we are not low. It is a commensurate dollar amount. Hockey, again, we are averaging. There's one that's considerably higher. There's one that's considerably lower. This was the average of all of those. And then you'll see our non-activity, our non-athletic participation fees were also slightly increased. And those had not been addressed for a number of years, as we had talked about. So just wanted to kind of give that background. Meal fees, because we don't have our federal requirements, And our past history has been to increase it by 10 cents per identifier. And if we come in below the federal guidelines, we will have to come back and ask the board to revise those, but we've always been really close with that 10 cents. I also am asking the board to consider, we also have technology insurance, $30 per year. The insurance covers 50% of the repair costs. And that is optional. It's not required. If parents choose to participate, they can. And then the other area that I would like the board to consider is increasing our substitute costs. When our contracts settled, I think at each of the bargaining units with board members, I mentioned that the substitute rates would need to be addressed to be more comparable. They are still not at the starting wage, so it doesn't deter somebody from just being a sub, and there's still a benefit to come on for employment. But those are the recommended rates for the substitute for clerical, custodian, paraprofessional, and food service. There is no recommended change for teaching staff. Coming down to, that's all of the, that is all of the reorganizational activities.
Motion.
No, go
Make a
ahead.
motion to approve the 26-27 organizational items as presented.
By Bruce. Second by Cheryl. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Moving on to the designated individual with authority.
So the Minnesota Department of Education requires our district to have an individual who is the designated individual with authority. Essentially what that does is that makes sure that you have one person that authorizes individuals within the school district to have access to secured and confidential information. And it's a security feature, and superintendents are designated as that in that function.
Motion by Bruce,
I'll second.
second by Thomas. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Moving on to the fiscal year 28 long-term facility maintenance.
So this is a resolution. So before the resolution goes, I will just kind of pull forward the bottom document, which is going to be a very familiar document to board members. This is kind of our guiding plan. You saw it not too long ago because we pulled this forward when we talked about the paying for the remediation and the cleaning of the steam at the elementary. So it has been at this table very recently. So this is the recommended 10-year plan. One thing just to note is when we've had projects and as people are kind of watching, you might see that for an example, we've had the track or the football field. If that money is not used, it's not lost, it moves forward a year. Okay, so just as a point of reference. This is there is a statement of assurance, and I'll pull that up for you to see as well. This is an assurance that our district is using the funds appropriately, and that cannot be signed. It's signed and dated. You'll see it's dated tomorrow. It cannot be submitted until the board authorizes the resolution. So the last document is the actual resolution.
For a motion to approve.
I did notice that there was little monies put in the softball field update. I thought there was some put aside for that.
So we have received clarity that we are not going to be able to use long-term facility maintenance for some of those components. So what we internally are doing is looking at things that could be paid for out of long-term facility maintenance that previously we had coded to like maybe designated for like operating capital, so that we can maximize the use of the funds that we had set aside. But when we met with the Minnesota Department of Education, we were told we wouldn't be able to use it in the ways that we got really creative. I'm looking at Ken. We tried. But I also want to make sure that we are not using funds inappropriately, because if we do, then we have fines and we have to pay things back, and we don't want to do that either. But I will gladly tell you that we are, Canon has been doing some pretty significant work, so we're gonna have a plan coming forward in the near future that's gonna start addressing the softball field.
So when they don't address it, but they leave football in there, does that mean it's because they won't help with the men's and women's bathrooms or
It's because
facility?
it's because we'd be
Adjoining?
building a new, so you could use it for, like when we buy AgriLime, for example, for the replacement of the field, that would be something you can pay for. Well, AgriLime is not where your cost is. Your cost is the concession stand, the bathrooms. I even asked, because one of the eligible uses of long-term facility maintenance is to create gender neutral bathrooms. But you'd have to be converting bathrooms, not building new. So, like I said, we got a little creative and tried to say it, but we're going to be building bathrooms that are gender neutral, and it was just too far of a reach. And I'm not bad mouthing or talking down. I'm just saying, like, it's just not in the scope of the money that's set aside. So
The way the rules say.
So then in order to be sure that we're doing that, like I said, there are, we may have paid for something out of operating capital that would have been an eligible use. And so we're really trying to feed those in where it goes so that we can maximize the operating capital money spend.
The football field and track, because
Those are
refurbishing the existing structures,
Yes.
not
Yeah, and they're
building new. Like if the softball field grass needed to be refurbished because of this, that was probably not for the maintenance, but if we're moving the field and all of a sudden it's construction.
And building a new.
Buildings.
Yeah,
well, we could build bleachers. We probably can't put up a new announcer tower with those funds.
that's gonna have to come from a different set of funds. Yep. So I appreciate you asking, because we just received probably within the last 3 months that clarification. So then Ken and I have been talking with a couple of different individuals to phase in with each year what we have for revenue, or set aside for revenue, so that we can, even if we just get the fields placed and the pad poured, and then we can, so we can really get this progress moving. I know it's kind of like the whole daycare thing. People have been talking about it forever. We've been talking about this for a long time. Let's start making some progress. So I want to be clear, that has not fallen off the radar. Okay.
You need a motion for that resolution?
Yep.
So move.
Motion by Bruce,
Second.
second by Ron. Roll call vote, correct. Bruce,
Aye.
Earl, aye. Jacob,
Aye.
aye. Thomas,
Aye.
Earl,
Aye.
Ron.
Aye.
The resolution carries. We have the resolution calling school district general election.
This is the formal process that will call for the election to take place for the school board members that file by July 28th at 5 p.m.
Make a motion for that resolution. For the election.
I'll second. Motion by Bruce, second by Cheryl. Roll call vote. Bruce,
Aye.
Cheryl, aye. Robert, Jacob,
Aye.
Rachel, aye. And Thomas.
Aye.
Carol.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We got to the 26-27 membership / contracts.
So these are just the memberships, and annually the board approves those memberships. There's nothing new that we have added. So these would just be the consistent memberships that we've had year over year.
Is the Minnesota Rural Education Association, most of the rest of them we had for a long time, that was the most recently added. Is that a value to us too? Whatever your opinion is. If it's not, let's cancel it.
Yeah.
If it is, we'll keep it, but just if it's not of value to us, we probably shouldn't spend the money.
Right. Can I get back to you on that? We can table that item if you'd like to. You can remove that. and approve the others minus that one, and I can make so there's, MREA is different than the others in its legislative advocacy for districts like us. So as you think about, so remember I had talked about the seasonal rec revenue? That came from advocacy from MREA because they know that districts like us that have large seasonal rec properties and that for an operating referendum, they're excluded from that tax base. So then the rest of your taxpayers, they assume the responsibility. So what's unique about MREA is that they do advocate for districts like us very specifically. I would say from what Thomas and I have attended, we typically have not attended their conference. We haven't expended the money to do so. I navigate and interact with their weekly legislative, the lobbyists, their updates. It's not, we haven't attended their conference because they do have a fee and we don't want to pay the fee.
Are you attending the meetings? What you're seeing from them as a value? That was my only question. I don't know necessarily that it's something that has to be there, but we have to be very careful that
I
we're
agree.
not spending money on something that we actually are not finding to be a value for us.
Thomas, do you have an opinion as the legislative? I don't know.
No, no, I think, as Janelle mentioned, obviously, there's benefits to being a member of that organization. Some of those advocacy things. I do question sometimes, if we're not a member, does it change the advocacy of what we see results from? But you could say that with every school district. Is it of value at some point in time those organizations go away because they don't have the funding school districts to continue to advocate? So it's two-sided. If every school district said, well, yeah, if you guys keep advocating, we won't pay your dues, well, then they don't have anything. You know what I'm saying? But
It just came up, when it came aboard years ago, it came aboard a different route than normal.
Okay.
So the superintendent would have recommended to get involved. It didn't come that way. It came from a member of us, family member, was involved with the organization. That's how it kind of came through. And at that time, we were going to take it on and try it out.
Oh, that's a great, I mean, if you would like.
Some of these are $10,000 and $5,000 and $12,000. I mean, it's still a chunk of change.
It's a chunk. No, it's for sure a chunk. And I mean, I support if the board would like me to look into that a little bit more about what are, I guess maybe I would ask, as I mentioned, I don't attend their in-person meetings because I don't want to spend registration and lodging and all of those for their conference. I do attend for 1 year, they were 7 a.m. meetings. It was virtual meetings, which I would always love, but I was, they're valuable because we have the opportunity, with other superintendents of rural school districts to hear from the lobbyists and the executive director that are overseeing MREA and at the Capitol to kind of talk through the nuances. But then when we're done with the formal presentation, we all have an opportunity to say, okay, now when the boots hit the ground, how is this gonna spin out for us? Right? Is it worth
Well,
some years?
if you have an opportunity that you're talking to a whole bunch of other superintendents and have an interchange like that, that actually has a fair amount of value
It does.
because other issues that might not be related there can come up there,
Yes.
which can do other things. It may be a value. I just
Yeah.
don't want anything to be an idle one.
Oh, I agree.
Some of the others I get a little better. When I came aboard, I was worried about a little bit duplication
Yeah.
Between C and what they were up to.
And
Because
that's
you can
fair.
have 5 organizations doing exactly the same thing.
Nope, that's
and they
fair.
need to have support in all 5, or do we
Yeah.
support one?
So-
I'm not gonna hold you to a number or anything, but it's a greater than 50% participation and something like that.
On my behalf, or like this,
All other superintendents in the state, so
well, no, because, so MREA is rural school districts.
Okay.
Okay, so that really is about, that's really targeting school districts that are like us and a little bit bigger. And there are, I'd have to look at the actual membership run, and because I don't remember what the
Yeah, no,
percentage is. But it's not metro, which is a nice, because sometimes you get a metro bend on an issue, right?
it'd be interesting to know. The big city, I would guess their participation has to be pretty high. In
So,
the rural, I mean, I would just like to know in the future, it'd be nice if you could find out a number, but I'm curious, is it 30%, 50%? I mean, I
let
don't
me,
know.
give me 1 second, I'll pull up,
I mean, I know some of these big schools, they get a lot of funding, but money's no object, but
so the big schools in the metro, they are members of what's called, the Association of Metropolitan School Districts, AMSD. So that's their organization, and they really focus on metro-centric issues. And they really deal, so they're not members of MREA.
sort of apples and oranges.
Right. And what's different about SAF, what was used to be SAF, or what is SAF and used to be C, is they are really focused on equalization, so that you don't have your zip codes that get way more funding and have the taxpayers really carry the burden, because they have your residential taxpayers, because they don't have anything for that tax base to spread upon. So their focus is really about advocating for a shift and a change in your tax structures. So they're apples, oranges, and peaches.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they are all kind of doing the same thing, Bruce, but they're doing different work that really do benefit our district in different ways.
And this is probably wishful thinking by me, but it'd be nice if the rural schools kind of work together a little. Maybe take turns, donate, go into this, so we're trying to. We got some people lobbying versus, I don't know, I'm really curious to see what kind of participation is in the rural area.
I'm gonna count, I got it here.
If it's over 50%.
Well, okay, instead of me counting, I will,
Wow.
I'm gonna put it up on the map. I'm
I'm not gonna.
drop it here. Nope, I'm
We'll
gonna
talk about it next month. but-
This is easy. Oh, just give me 1 second. This is easy. I can do this. It's gonna be in a really random spot, but,
It'd be 25%. I'm not, 25, 30, I could understand, but
Amanda, I'm gonna drop this in just a really weird spot. So when I'm done, will you just delete it? Okay. All right, so this is MREA's map of the school districts. And so MREA represents more than 259,000 students in greater Minnesota public schools. So here's the membership map. So the red are members.
That kind of answers the question.
The yellow, and now the yellow, most of those yellow metro are members of AMSD. Okay. So that's who they are, and that is who they represent.
that's positive.
Okay. And then here's all the school districts. Okay. I'm gonna just, because I forgot to cast, I'm gonna do this. I want to just put it on the recording so people can see the map. Because I think, I do think it's important to answer the question. So there we go. So if we look at the interactive, membership map, this is gonna show us all the yellow are non-members, the red are members. So it's just kind of an important visual snapshot. Yep. So, anything, does that answer your question a little bit? Okay, okay. Amanda, if you want to delete that, thank you.
Looking for a motion?
Yep.
Make motion.
Motion by Thomas,
I'll second.
second by Jacob, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We got to the magnified credit card authorization.
So anytime when we have a new employee that's going to be assigned a credit card, it needs to come to the board. So Erin Botten will be replacing, Chris O'Brien. So then she needs the authorization.
Take that motion.
Motion by
Second.
second by Gerald, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Moving on to the upcoming meeting schedule, I just want to point out that our next work session is Monday, August 10th versus Tuesday, August 11th due to the primary elections. And hearing no other comments, we'll be looking for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Ron, second by Gerald, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned.